Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Southwest Virginia fishing report with Matt Reilly of Matt Reilly Fly Fishing. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great, Marvin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Looks like you've been tearing it up. You've been catching all kinds of stuff in abundant numbers lately.
Yeah, it's been good. We've had fairly stable weather the last week or so, and there's lots to do right now. I mean, we're lucky that we can trout fish pretty much all summer down here. That's still super viable, and it's getting really good. And smallmouth fishing has been on fire the last, really 2 weeks or so. And it should stay that way and just get better as more river options come back into shape and things start to heat up and the water levels drop a little bit. So it's exciting.
Yeah, so we were talking before we started recording that the water's warming up quickly. I assume that means that the smallmouth are pretty high in the water column, probably chasing bait fish and probably doing some popper action too?
Yeah, we've been catching fish on topwater for the better part of a month now. But it really just has to do with, I'd say water temp more than anything. Once it gets above like the mid 60 degree range, it's pretty viable. Optimally, you want to have a little lower water, stream flow, but, I've had days, to the water temperature point, in like mid-June where, the river's like twice what it should be in terms of flow and dirty. And as long as you can get the fly, in good holding water or tight to the bank, topwater can be viable. But generally, like the New River is still a little high, right now. And, we're primarily fishing streamers and stuff like that.
Got it. Any kind of patterns or tips and techniques you want to share with folks this time around?
So yeah, the sections of the river I've been fishing the last couple of weeks. Well, first of all, our smallmouth spawn this year in Virginia was quite a bit behind average. We've had some late spawns in years past, but I'd say it wasn't until about the third week of May where I really saw things get kicked off. So keep that in mind when you're out, that the fish may not be in the same places that maybe you found them this time last year. There's still some fish are still set up on nests, some are coming off a nest, and so they haven't quite diffused throughout the whole river like they will probably in the next couple of weeks or so. Like you'll find them in the summer just kind of laid up everywhere along the bank and in good cover. So, I guess I would say if you're not catching fish, you're not finding fish, you're not seeing fish, move. Because right now, what I've been seeing is fish are clumped up, and if you're not seeing fish, you're not in the right spot. So be looking for those places that are adjacent or nearby to good spawning habitat. You'll find fish hanging in those areas, slower moving water, and areas with lots of current breaks, that kind of thing.
Got it. And have the cicadas arrived in your neck of the woods?
The periodical cicadas,
yes,
have been very, to use the word again, clumpy this year. They've been very spotty. I've been talking to a lot of people around the region the last couple of weeks, trying to gauge sort of density and timing and everything. And we're seeing some, but not in big numbers and not in expansive areas. Like I was coming back from the river the other day, driving down a county road and had the window down, and you'd hear them for a couple of seconds and then nothing for a few minutes and then a few for a couple of seconds. And There are a few areas on the upper and lower new that I've heard them and seen them. I saw a couple today, but I just haven't seen many on the water, and it's been very, very hit or miss regionally. So it's not something that I'm paying a ton of attention to with guide trips right now. I have been making some trips for myself to explore, but I would say this year, I don't know if it was the cooler weather and ground temps sort of mid-May when they would normally be warming up and starting to think about emerging or what, that they just haven't really been out in full force where we're at.
Got it. And I guess the rule for trout fishing is that while we still have water, as it keeps getting warmer, is to just keep moving up the water table and probably fish terrestrials, right?
Yeah. It's big bug season around here. We've been seeing green drakes for a couple of weeks in small numbers some days, bigger numbers other days. It's fairly inconsistent, but they've been around. That'll persist for a little while longer, maybe another week. Giant black stoneflies are around. Shoot, grasshoppers and crickets and beetles and all that kind of stuff's been out for months at this point, but they're getting more active and there's more of them around. Saw the first couple inchworms hanging from a tree the other day, which inchworms are kind of a go-to dropper fly of mine in the summertime, so that's exciting to see. We've had a lot of sulfurs on the water the last couple months, and it's still going on. It's kind of been one of our more impressive dry fly hatches recently. But yeah, we'll have cool water all summer unless things get really, really dry and hot. And, if that's the case, pay attention to water temps and just be careful. But, on a normal year, we've got enough springs and elevation around here where there's generally not a problem finding cool water and inactive fish.
Got it. And folks, remember, we love questions on the Articulate Fly. If you'll send us a question on the Articulate Fly Facebook page, if we use it on the report, I'll send you some Articulate Fly swag, and you'll get into a drawing for some cool stuff Matt will put together at the end of the season. And like we do every time we get together, Matt, it's not a fishing report with you if you don't share us what you're writing for the Rural Virginian. What's on the typewriter these days?
Yeah, so this week, I guess today, coming out it's not really a fishing related article, but my column's an outdoor column, so I try to stay somewhat rounded and appeal to non traditional sportsmen as well occasionally. But I just wrote an article about sort of popular good hikes around the region that also have some like swimming options. So think of like the swimming hole that you used to frequent up in the mountains as a kid. There's a lineup of, I think 6 hikes that feature that kind of swimming hole action on them. So that'll be coming out today, and we'll be getting back to the normal fishing ramblings next week, I'm sure.
Fair enough. And I'll drop a link to that in the show notes. And before I let you hop, Matt, why don't you let folks know where they can find you so they can book you and chase smallmouth with you this season?
Yeah, man. The website is mattreillysflyfishing.com, and I've got my phone number and email and social media and all that's on there. So however you feel like reaching out, I'd love to hear from you and get on the water with you this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're kind of in that sweet spot, folks, before we really get to the dog days of summer. So get out there and chase some trout and chase some smallies. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Matt.
Thanks, Marvin.